Hey everybody, Lucas Welsh here, and we got a bit of a conundrum today. I've heard, and some people call this truth, some people call it a lie. So we're going to put it to the test today. Is it going to affect the tone if I change my chin rest? I know, seems like a silly business, but let's get into it. I've got this 1890s, early 1900 Rothenlederer violin that we've just finished putting together, and it's got a little bit of a sharpness on the A and the E string. This is a pretty thin violin, so it's built for volume, and it's pretty even across. I've adjusted the sound post for 2 days, tweaking around. I've tweaked the sound post. Yes, I know there's other things that I could be trying, and I've already put a different set of strings on. I can change the bridge out and do this and that. Yes, all those things, definitely. But I got thinking to myself, hey, if I change this chin rest out, if that could be enough to do something, to affect the tone. Now, I'm going to give you my honest 2 cents about the whole situation here, okay? And I will say, for me, unequivocally, everything affects the tone. Wood tailpiece, no fine tuners, definite. Different pegs, yes. How your nut is filed, massive impact on what your violin sounds like. Okay, how your bridge is carved, how thick your bridge is, how tight your sound post is, how loose your sound post is, the material that you use in your sound post, the material that you use in your bridge. I've already got a softer type sound post in here because I was thinking softer sound post, but then I put a good bridge on, like this is a 3-tree Coriola bridge, or Corolla, however you say that, no matter. But hard bridge. I'm second guessing that. Maybe I should put a softer bridge on, yada, 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 yada. Okay, I know I've got a bass line where I'm at right now. I had Eva Perazzi strings on here, and I changed them out to tonicas. I wanted something a little more forgiving. I know what you're saying. Tonicas, they're just like bleh. Almost nobody likes a tonica string. I like tonica strings because they are bleh, bleh, bleh. Okay, they give me just a good average. I know what they do. Okay, so I know if I've got a fiddle that I can make sound good with tonicas on it, man alive, if I put a bigger string on there like an Eva Perazzi or some Larsons or something like that, there's gonna be something special there. So they're my baseline string. I usually put a set of tonicas on everything I string up for the first initial start, and then I let it sit for a day or two just to let it settle in. And these are just brought back up to pitch. Anyway, all that. What about the chin rest? This is a solid ebony chin rest that we put on here that's got some schmaltz on it. All right, I'm gonna play it for you. I'm gonna just play like a G major scale, and then I've got one other little thing that I like to do, some faster notes to really get the resonance and the overtones and everything going. So that's what I'm going to do for each chin rest here. We'll talk about the next one. So here's the ebony. right, so I threw some single strings in there at the end just to really get that. Now that E is bright to me. It's shrill, like annoyingly shrill to me. So I don't like that. So the question is, will a chin rest make a difference? Now I got a few different varieties here. Let's see what I've got. I've got some, I got a couple different types of, actually I think this might be walnut. I've got a rosewood. I think this is a walnut. I've got a maple that's been done up. I kind of think I'm going to set that one aside. That's a nothing. I've got boxwood. I think these are both boxwood actually, so I'm just going to pick one and go with it. And then I've got this here, which might be Paduk. Not sure. Let's get out the scale and see where we're at. So because we're going to all this trouble, I want to weigh everything in grams and see where we go from there. Weight is a big thing. So the Chinrest Showdown . Style comes in at 48 grams. So I know you're all thinking, well, if it's just the type of wood that matters, why are you weighing them? Well, my guess is that as much as I say the type of wood is going to make the difference, I think it's actually going to be the weight that's going to make the difference the most. So here we go. Okay. The rosewood Berber style, I'm calling it. It's kind of a hybrid. It's the heaviest at 58 grams. Okay. This is our benchmark, the ebony at 49. So that's, 9 grams heavier. Walnut, 52. Boxwood at 54. Maple at 45, which is lighter. Paduk at 38, which is lighter. And rosewood at 48, which is lighter. Now, let's talk about predictions. Okay? So, here's what I'm predicting. We've got a light fiddle. Okay, let's just weigh the fiddle. Bare fiddle. Okay. See if we can get 432 grams. So the violin weighs 432 grams. All right. So when we talk about the Chinrest being 38 to 58 grams, we're talking about a substantial amount of weight that's coming on or off this fiddle. Now, let's try with no Chinrest at all for a second. Let's just see what that sounds like. Okay? Okay, so no chin rest. We still have a substantially sharp E string. I would go as far as to say that we're a little more free. Okay, so what do we think is going to happen? What I'm hoping is going to happen, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that by putting a heavier chin rest on, that it's going to dampen it a little bit and maybe, help me tame that E down a little tickle. The trade-off, of course, is going to be it's probably going to do it to all the strings a little bit. So, we're at 49 grams. Let's put the Rosewood Hill style chin rest on, because that's coming in at 48 grams. That's, 1 gram. That's pretty much comparing apples to apples as far as weight goes. If we get a difference, then we can, assume that wood choice maybe does have some factoring involved. Of course, a chin rest is cork lined so that it doesn't just mar the fiddle up. So how much difference can it actually make? And again, this is where I think that more than wood choice, we're dealing with a weight issue. Just a little tickle more. There. Don't over tighten your chin rests, people. Let's make sure that we're in tune. Okay, so we've got a Rosewood chin rest here now that's basically the same weight. It's 1 gram lighter than the Ebony coming in at 40. The Ebony's 49. The Hill's coming in at 48. Okay. So here we go. Same scale. I don't know if you guys can hear a difference over the phone like this. My ear, which is pretty reasonably well tuned. Okay, I've been a musician for over 30 years. I have a good set of ears. I don't have perfect pitch by any means. I got a good set of ears. That made a difference. Don't ask me how, why, or what. That made a difference. That tamed that E string down. A little tickle. That is not nearly so bright and harsh in my ear. And I felt like the rest of the strings all mellowed out a wee little bit. I was not thinking that it was going to be that noticeable. I try and tighten my chin rests down the same way. I just tighten them down till I can't pull them off. there shouldn't be anything different from the ebony to this in regards to how I put it on, why I put it on, and it's 1 gram heavier. Is that 1 gram enough to make it that much more noticeable? Okay, the thing that I see me running up against here is that I'm going to forget what that ebony one sounded like. Here's our ebony. Rosewood. Improvement. Can't deny it. Let's get extreme. Let's go to the Paduk. Not the Paduk. Yeah, the Paduk. That's the one I want. The Paduk. Where are you? Right there. Hiding. This is the lightest out of the crew. Being 11 grams lighter than the ebony one. I would have suggested that a lighter tailpiece would in fact compound the issue and make the violin even more shrill, potentially. That's what I would have suggested before I put the rosewood on, which was almost identical. Weight. So now we're 11 grams lighter. Okay, here we go. Worse. Not worse than the ebony. About the same as the ebony. But definitely worse than the rosewood. Now, was I compensating with the rosewood? Was I playing a little lighter? I don't know. I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can here. Okay. Paduk. Okay. Let's go extreme the other way. Let's go heavy. So the rosewood Berber Chinrest is the heaviest that I've got at 58 grams. So if a rosewood of the same weight range within a gram, so if what I'm saying is, if this Chinrest made a noticeable difference, being the same weight almost, this Chinrest at 10 grams heavier, 11 grams, 9 grams heavier, sorry. I'll do math one day. This should, in fact, I think this is a left-handed one actually, but no matter. Should right-handed to left-handed, I mean, that should give me the same. I would think that's going to give me a very similar result. Okay, here we go. All right. Yeah, definitely a left-handed Chinrest. Yeah, okay. Anyway. So we're getting a rosewood, you know, the same type of feel out of the rosewood one. Actually, I'm not sure if I liked what that did. It's maybe a little bit darker, but I think with the hill style rosewood, I was noticing it made a bigger difference, and my A string has a little more honk with this one than I've noticed. So now we've gotten the kind of the baseline with the extremes. We went light. We weren't super impressed. We went heavy. Meh. So far, the hill style rosewood is winning. Now, let's go maple. This one has 2 single barrels. It doesn't have the bottom joining piece, so I don't know, that might change this a little wee tickle. The maple was 45 grams, so it's a little bit lighter. Let's put it on. Kind of a neat one. I have a bunch of these raw flame maple Chinrests, and this actually came off of a fiddle that I did with copper leaf. If you care to look back on some of my other videos, you can see that violin all put together. It was a pretty neat instrument. Okay, here we go. Maple. That's an interesting result. So again, we've got what I would consider a little bit of dampening happening. Definitely for me, most noticeable on the D and the E string. And it did soften that E string harshness, which surprises me. That just, it kind of goes to show a little bit that weight isn't, you know, necessarily 100% responsible for tone. That's, for me, that's kind of an interesting situation. Let's go with the walnut. Walnut was coming in heavy at 52 grams. So here's another kind of an interesting comparison. The maple was 45, so that was 4 grams lighter. The walnut is 52, so that's 3 grams heavier. So, you know, we're kind of fixated on the weight here, but that's really not, if this is showing me anything, it's showing me that in fact, wood choice is a little more important than weight considerations. What y'all think about that? Shoot me some comments. I like to hear what you guys are thinking. I mean, some of this is, you know, I'm doing this because this is the way that I understand things. Okay? You can talk to me about wood densities and vibrating this and vibrating that and frequency response of this or that. And I got an understanding in hick terms about what you're saying. But this for me, just a throwdown like this. This is what tells me the most. Okay? Because what I'm learning here is that the type of wood is probably more important than the actual weight of the wood. So that's saying, in my mind, that's telling me that denseness and those types of things in the wood properties itself, have more to do with dampening and, those types of things. Okay? All right, we got walnut on here. Let's see. Again, that initial harsh bright of the E is dampened. I think this took a little bit more away from the overall tone than, say, the hill, the rosewood, or the maple. I think this dampened, like, this was like putting a little bit of a blanket on here. Not that it's muffled or in any way that way. I just feel at my ear that it's a little bit more across the G, D, and the A that I'm willing to let go of yet. And of course, again, this is just all my observations here at my ear, which is terrible. It's a bad place to do it. And I could go into the studio and put a nice mic on and record it. So this is just like a no frills. If it sounds better on my my phone microphone volume camera thing in my jogger, if one clearly shouts out better, then that's going to be huge here. Okay, the boxwood coming in at 54 grams, so a little bit heavier than the walnut. We're talking 5 grams heavier than the ebony. Boxwood, I know that I've done some fiddles with boxwood fittings. Like boxwood tailpiece, boxwood tuners, boxwood Chinrest. And the term that I heard used and that I kind of liked was buttery. Okay? So let's see if the boxwood Chinrest is going to win the day. I like butter. All right. Indeed, it made a difference. I would suggest that the boxwood dampened all the strings as well, similar to the walnut, but not, how should I put this? It's like it rounded the sound of each string, okay? Which is kind of buttery. It fits. It makes sense. It kind of softened it, rounded those, if you think of a peak on a waveform being sharp, it kind of like took that sharp peak out. I don't mind what that did at all. So, here's the thing. People shop with their eyes, and to me that doesn't look good. And I know what's right for the sound of the fiddle. Absolutely. This was my fiddle. I'd be down on this all day. This is a fiddle that I'm trying to sell. Yeah. So what I want to do one last time is I'm going to throw this ebony one back on, and we're going to have a quick listen to make sure that I'm not just blowing smoke out of my Yahoo here when I say that, in fact, changing the chin rest can have a fairly dramatic impact on your violin's tone. Is that where it stops? Absolutely not. Okay, ebony. It's just sharp. It's just sharp with that ebony tailpiece on. Very interesting. All right. You throw it down in the comments, folks. Which one do you think I should go with? For me, I'm a little bit torn. I liked what these three did. So we got boxwood, we got maple, and we got rosewood. The rosewood, I felt like it softened that E string harshness. The maple dampened the D and the E a little bit more than the other ones. And the boxwood just kind of like made it all buttery. So, throw it down in the comments. What do you guys think? I'm anxious to hear. And we'll be seeing you shortly. Cheers. Now, take this all off. Figure this out again. I don't know why I do this to myself.